Hello and welcome, everybody. This is the Constant Sports Podcast, and today you got a triple threat. We got myself, Connor Shank, we got Calvin Coleman, we got Salvatore Caprita in the house. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Good to be here.
Excited to be here.
Perfect. We got Mr. Caprita in the Eastern District of the United States, out there in Charlotte area. We got Mr. Coleman, giving us the Midwest vibes. I myself on the West Coast. So, we go coast to coast here on the Constant Sports Podcast. And today we're diving in. We're taking you behind the scenes of the fast-paced and dynamic world that is sports business. So, gentlemen, what do you say we just head right in? We kick things off. We'll start some interesting things I saw in the sports marketing area this week. Was that of the NIL space sector industry with the ZOA. I don't know if you guys have been able to take a sip of his energy drink, the Rock's energy drinks, but he did sign, I think it was 9 athletes or something like that.
Yep.
To the NIL deals.
I have not tried it. I'm not a huge energy drink guy, but he signed 9 different guys.
It's
choosing.
Yeah, I think we lost him. I'll jump in here. Good energy drink, great stuff. Like you said, very interesting to see which brands are going to continue to dive into this NIL space. It's starting to clear up a little bit, we think, not necessarily. We, like in our last podcast, we dived on it, kind of the wild west. However, specifically with an energy drink like that, there's a lot of concerns. I don't know if you saw the stuff with Prime about kind of what's in it, is it good for you, kind of that stuff. So specifically seeing something like that where they're diving into NIL kind of in amateur sports was interesting to see on my part.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I think Celsius is big in the space, but I'm pretty sure they have a banned substance in their drink. So kind of go along with that with Prime is, especially the college athletes, different rules and regulations that they have to abide by rather than pro athletes. Like Celsius is huge in the UFC space with Dustin Poirier, they got Amanda Nunes, a few other athletes. So a little different ball game, but something they have to keep in mind when they're doing these deals. The college athletes is. In particular. And then Calvin and I were actually talking about this with Caleb Williams. Unfortunately, he is staying at USC, so Calvin and his Oregon Ducks will have to deal with him. Maybe you guys play him in season this year?
We do, in Eugene. It's about time they come over.
So you're going to play him at home.
Boy.
You're probably playing again in the Pac-12 championship game.
Which
can talk
could
about that later.
potentially be the last Pac-12 championship game, but, that's okay.
Well, there's no doubt
we'll
about
talk
that.
later.
Yeah, that's right on, Count. I was going to say, bold assumption by Connor to say the Ducks would make it to the Pac-12 championship. I don't anticipate that happening one bit.
There's no one in the conference.
The conference realignment has not happened yet.
We're gonna skip over that little point that Sal just made, and I want to go real quick back to the energy drink topic before we move on.
Oh, yes.
We've seen a huge spike, like we were talking about, in NIL deals. It's kind of the hot thing right now. So along with everything that The Rock did and everything that the Prime drink is doing, Accelerate, I think it's called, also recently created a partnership with Livy Dunn, the star LSU gymnast, who seems like she can get pretty much any brand deal she wants. But I personally doubt that she drinks energy drinks like that, but you never know. And they kind of turned it into a good branding opportunity, using her while she's in her uniform and saying, I need this to make sure I can compete at the highest level. So I think it's interesting that sort of category is kind of the big thing in the NIL space right now.
So you want to jump in there?
Yeah, no, that's a great assessment there, Callan. And I don't know if you heard earlier, but just diving into it, kind of that specific space with the energy drinks and kind of the isotonic category coming into the NIL space. What's your thoughts on kind of the fact that some of them are dealing specifically with Prime, kind of that what's in their stuff, their drinks? Like, is it appropriate? Is it healthy for you within kind of amateur sports now?
Yeah, I think that's a big topic, and I think eventually that could backfire. Energy drinks have been shown to not be great for you. But for some reason it's a big trend right now, so I think everyone's trying to hop in on it before something comes out saying this substance in this specific drink is banned and not good for you. Then athletes aren't going to want to partner with you. But until something like that comes out, I mean, I think these brands are just trying to do everything they can to kind of stay ahead of the curve before the inevitable comes, and it's not really a big trend anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think it's always funny, maybe not funny, but interesting to see, these athletes signing with deals and whatnot with brands like LeBron James with Mountain Dew. We talked with someone on the podcast a few podcasts ago, but the chances of LeBron James sitting down and drinking a Mountain Dew, probably below 2% of him actually, taking part in that beverage. But I'm sure he got some coin for the marketing deal and commercial and all that. So, don't hit the player, hit the game. So it is what it is. But with Caleb Williams, as I forgot to mention, he just signed a deal with United Airlines, which I thought was pretty cool, and that'll be big, especially when college football season's 36 whatever days away. So that's coming up. So I would think, especially in the NIL space, we start to see these college football players specifically start to ramp up some more deals. With Marvin Harrison Jr. just signed a few more deals, and I think that'll start to get going as football season is right around the corner, with how big that is in college towns and things of that nature. And then in the professional space, obviously there's Messi, so we'll touch on him in a second. But I want to touch on with Damar Hamlin, who signed with Don't Quit Nutrition brand. I thought that was interesting. Callan, you had a little bit more insight on this.
Yeah, he recently signed with them, I want to say a couple weeks ago. Personally, I had never actually heard of the brand, but obviously with the name Don't Quit, like kind of their goal is to give you, the power and the nutrition supplements needed to not quit on the field. And Damar Hamlin's kind of a great example of that. Everyone knows sort of the story that happened with him. And in terms of Don't Quit, they kind of do it a different way, which we've actually touched on the podcast with guests before. So Damar joined Saquon Barkley as I think the only two NFL guys that have deals with them, but both of their deals are equity based within the company.
Yep.
So they each own a certain percentage of the company. I don't know exactly what that percent is, but I know we've touched on in the past that kind of athlete marketing is becoming a huge thing, and we're starting to see a transition away from just a simple transactional relationship where, hey, you post our brand on social media and we'll give you X amount of money. It's kind of turning more into how can you be creative and make it worth it for both parties. So owning part of a company is a great way to do that, because now obviously those athletes are going to be invested in that company moving forward throughout the future, because they want it to perform as well as possible. Yeah,
well, and it makes a lot of sense, right? It's like with the athletes not just getting the kind of upfront money, but we've seen it with Patrick Mahomes and BioSteel and Hyperice, and I think LeBron James. I mean, he might not have been the first one to do it, but it was like years ago. You'll probably find it, but it was like early 2000, 2005, whatever. He got equity of Beats, so I don't know, probably not the first one ever, but I feel like that's kind of when it started to churn a little bit in a few years after that. But now a bunch of athletes are doing it. Smart for them, smart for the business. So makes both parties.
No, absolutely. I think, Callan, that was just a great breakdown of kind of this transition kind of within the last couple of years to purpose-driven marketing. Why are we connecting? Why are these athletes kind of doing these deals with these brands? Like you said, in history, it's been just transactional. Pay me money, I do this, we move on. But now it's kind of that purpose-driven. You got to actually, there's so much in our space and so much content we consume just as just consumers, if you will. So you have to be able to strike their attention more. You have to do something exciting. So when you've got a deal just like that, like you said, Damar Hamlin is a perfect example of someone who's not quitting on the field and connecting with that brand and kind of doing that partnership. That's where you're seeing the big value in marketing kind of transition to, like I said, that purpose-driven.
Absolutely.
I think there's no better example than Mr. Messi joining the Inter Miami down there with him and his Apple, and I think he is even on like the MLS some season pass. He's getting that whole thing, isn't he?
Right. Yeah. No, I could just break it down. He owns a quarter of the MLS now. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, he is professional soccer in America, I feel like.
Correct.
Yes.
And so I know he debuted a couple weeks ago And I was reading some numbers that it was the most watched American soccer game ever across all platforms, which is kind of crazy that that's the effect that he has. And then I think since coming over, I know Apple TV kind of handles the MLS season pass sort of thing, and I think they've seen a spike in like 1 million subscribers since he came over, which is just unheard of, that one guy can kind of single-handedly change a league. Like, I'm trying to think of anyone else that could do that.
I don't think we can.
No.
Yeah, I don't, so that was pretty fascinating to see.
Yeah, for me,
It's
it was
like-
the
it's like
social media
he's-
followings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
they were at like 1 million. Now, after he signed, it jumped again like 5 million to 6 million. I mean, that was just incredible. That's stuff that's you can market out. I mean, that's big time social media following.
Yeah, I mean it's through the roof, and it was Sal. We were talking about this off air, but Messi's recent what's it called? His recent images when he was at the grocery store. It's like, oh wow,
Oh yes,
Messi gets
yes.
groceries.
Yep.
A little bit of a deep dive, but Publix,
Mhm.
the grocery store market there in Florida is actually a major sponsor. The team of the arena, so they're tied into it. And we're not saying this did happen. Maybe it's more than likely.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
The soccer
that
team
was a
kind of
marketing ploy.
coordinated. Yeah. I mean, it's brilliant. It really is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
It's next level stuff.
Oh, no doubt. It's kind of like that. It doesn't matter what type of, if it's good, bad publicity, your name's out that you're getting seen. I mean, that is what it is.
Yeah.
And not
I mean,
that was bad
was
in
a
any
free
ways, but kind of, exactly. It was a free ad. Like, everyone's just blowing up saying, oh, Messi's at the grocery store, how crazy, blah, 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 blowing it up. But the first thing you're seeing in all the news articles and all the images, Publix.
Yeah.
I
Everywhere.
mean, yeah, it was well done.
Yeah, that's a professional move. Whoever the marketing person over there, the CEO is, that was well done, and I'm sure that's well worth their yearly salary. That move alone there. So, love to see it, and it goes to show that sports. It's not just about sports. It goes in the public sector. We're talking grocery stores, and now there's a grocery store locked into sports marketing, sports trends.
Yeah. Connecting to the Messi effect, I want to bring it to this, get your guys' thoughts on this, just because it's in my backyard here. So, Messi's coming over, all the MLS teams are kind of connected, talking about it, Well, the league's like, hey, this guy's never played on turf. Like, we don't do turf fields, like we do grass. Everyone needs to go to grass. Well, the team out here in Charlotte has said, no, we're not doing it.
Really?
So, apparently, coming up on the schedule, Charlotte FC, Messi may not be playing. So imagine that. Imagine all the revenue they're going to miss from the people buying tickets wanting to show up and watch Messi play because they don't want to go to grass field because Messi said he's not playing. They're not going to risk him playing on turf because he may get hurt. That's the big thing, especially in the NFL. You've seen a lot. There's been a lot of talk about turf fields and injuries, etc. And the league already said, hey, you got to go to grass fields. They ain't going to do it, so he may not be playing in Charlotte. Fascinating
So
to watch that play out.
are they getting fined or are they just no?
No, but the Miami is potentially holding him out, saying, well, he's not going to play on turf. So then now
Wow.
he ain't going to play in Charlotte.
Where do you know where Charlotte plays? I mean, like their own
They
stadium. or is
play
it
at the
multi-use?
Panther Stadium. Yeah, Bank of America.
I thought their field's turf. I didn't know that. Or do they roll it in?
I don't know.
Interesting. Well, that kind of leads us into a few other points we were talking about, but we'll get into it reminded me of the NFL and the running back and quarterback market, so we can kind of dive into that. Get a little bit of a sports news roundup as NFL contracts with Mr. Oregon Duck himself, Justin Herbert, getting paid over this past weekend, and then
Big
the
bucks.
running backs. I know. Yeah, the running backs I think is something interesting that we can talk about here, but
Let's dive into
the
it.
shelf life. I mean, I feel like it's kind of increasing, but there's like really like star-studded running backs that are just left out to dry.
No, it really, I mean, it's after 28, 30 years of age. I mean, it's an instant decrease. It's clear. And the problem is that the biggest thing for me personally on the running back market is obviously the decrease in efficiency, effectiveness after a certain age, wear and tear. But it's how easy the transition for the running back position from college to the NFL is. They're the position where it don't matter what round, where you come from. And I watched it with Philip Lindsay, undrafted, boop, comes right in, starts to be productive in the NFL. You got the 7th rounder from the Chiefs the previous year, comes up, boop. I mean, just Pacheco, just they're right into it. That's the biggest thing. So you can go draft someone or sign an undrafted free agent. You're saving pennies on the dollar versus paying a star-studded running back $10+ million. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
I agree. It's also just like I can see it from both sides, which I feel like there's a lot of kind of topics in the industry that I'm pretty clearly on one side, and I agree with what you just said about kind of if you're a team owner or a GM, like why pay these guys when, like you said, they're pretty easily replaceable. But if you're a guy like Austin Eckler who like basically does everything, and obviously Herbert's great,
Yeah.
and they have good receivers, but I don't think their offense can function as well without Eckler. Like I think he deserves his money, whereas an owner or a GM might be like, hey, we can easily replace you. So I don't really know what side I fall on. I see both sides. I just think it's crazy how different it is. And then you see, Herbert getting this massive contract. And I think I read Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson together are making more than I think every running back in the NFL combined, which is pretty wild to think about.
Oh, gosh.
And those are two guys that have struggled a little bit to stay healthy also. So it's definitely an interesting aspect.
I mean, has Justin Herbert ever won a playoff game?
No, but I mean, he's been in the league for 3 years. It's all good. He's coming up.
$262 million later, can't win a playoff game.
Don't you worry.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a quarterback-driven league.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
It is.
No, that was a great breakdown, Callan.
Yeah, but what about staying on the quarterback side?
There we go.
My former friend turned enemy. What's up with Aaron Rodgers taking this massive pay cut so the Jets can bring more talent in and restructuring his contract?
Oh,
but
yeah.
He was never willing to do that in Green Bay.
Well, he clearly hates Green Bay. I mean, I don't think it gets more crystal clear than that. He hates Green Bay. He's been playing you guys like a fiddle for 15 years or whatever it is. I love Wisconsin. I love the tundra, yada, yada, yada. And then you realize, no, this place sucks. Oh, I'm going to New York? Okay, yeah, sure. Everybody come on in. I'll take a decrease. I already got my money. Let's go win some championships now.
I mean, he looks happy. He looks happier in
really
New York.
Does.
Going to Taylor Swift concerts, hanging out with his teammates at different sporting events in New York.
Yeah.
I mean, then he's, like you said, taking the pay cut. The Hard Knocks is going to be fantastic. I mean, I can't wait. On the edge of my seat. I'm sure he'll be just front and center, just star of the show, if you will.
I mean, it can't make the Green Bay Packer faithful, especially the owners. For those listening, Mr. Coolman is a part owner of the Green Bay Packers, so for him to
Correct.
This might a little bit emotions are high currently. He's currently basically starting with a rookie quarterback that has never actually played an NFL game, unfortunately. Decreased talent pool.
Wow.
With the Packers.
He started one game 2 years ago at Kansas City.
The Chiefs. Yeah.
His performance versus the Eagles is something to go watch. That's what the Packers faithfuls holding their bids for this year on.
I mean, if I'm being honest, apart from maybe the AFC South, there's not a better division to be in with a young quarterback.
That is such a bold comment to say in front of national America.
Coast to coast, and you're going to say that on live air.
Yeah,
we're dealing with the Lions, Bears, and Vikings.
I'd be in the what is the AFC South, whatever that is.
I said other than the AFC South.
I would compare like those are good comparable divisions. Like you're talking top tier divisions, you're talking AFC West, you're talking NFC West, you're talking those divisions. Like NFC North, like nothing to be worried about.
I agree. That's my point. That's why
I think he's saying
it's a good spot
easy.
to have.
It's the easiest division to be in, not the hardest would be.
Yeah, I was
NFC
saying it's a good division to be in with a young quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You did not say. Sorry. We're on. We got to clarify. Did you say the NFC North had the best quarterbacks in it?
No.
Or no?
It is for teams, just going back on the contract thing. I think it is more beneficial for teams to win with quarterbacks on the rookie deals. I think as we've seen, the success rate, I'm not sure what it is, but I feel like the teams that pay their quarterback friggin' millions and millions of dollars then lose money to obviously pay the better players. It's like the Tom Brady effect. It took less, but you get better players around you, and he's got, 6 Super Bowl rings, whereas, people get paid, then he can't play their players. But, I guess they paid Patrick Mahomes, and he's figuring it out, so.
True. He's kind of a unicorn, though.
Yep.
He's definitely the best quarterback in the NFL, though. I feel like that's fair to say.
Yep. That's a good assessment.
I feel like there's a lot of assessments on Patrick Mahomes and who's the best quarterback in the NFL, and they're like, well, who's the best throw? Who's the best just flat out quarterback? It's him. I feel like people get too cute. Like, who's the best in the pocket? Who's the best rolling out? Who's the best deep ball? Who's the best this? To all those questions, it's him, in my opinion.
Fair.
I totally agree. You ain't wrong about that.
I just think it's some people like to get up on national television and just chirp just absolute utter nonsense sometimes. Like,
go down
gun to your head. Gun to your head. You're taking Mahomes 100 times out of 100. Okay, let's move on here, gentlemen. To what are we looking into? So a little sports business spotlight, as I know Callan's a big baseball fan here. So MLB All-Star Game was a few weeks ago, and it actually did well. They have some good sponsors. It was T-Mobile continues to be one of the top sponsors in the MLB, but we've seen viewership increase. We've seen ticket sales increase from shot clock, you'd call it pitch clock, which when it first came out I was not a big fan of. I thought it was kind of dumb, but looks like I was proved wrong. Looks like it's working out. Yeah,
I love it for kind of a TV audience, but I don't know about going to a game. I enjoy going to a good Cubs game out here in Chicago, and I've been to a couple that are 2 hours and 20 minutes long, and then a couple that are over 3 hours. It just kind of depends. But sticking kind of with, you brought up T-Mobile. They were kind of one of the big sponsors for the All-Star Game. They also happen to be the sponsor of the naming partner of the field in Seattle. And they did a lot of things with technology to kind of make the Home Run Derby and All-Star Game stick out as opposed to normal, whether it was launch angles or, just showing kind of, especially with the Home Run Derby, bat speeds and angles and kind of just different pitching views so you could see what exactly the hitter was looking at, which I thought was really cool. It kind of fits the trend of what a lot of companies in sports are trying to do is, really bringing fans closer to the action. So I thought that was pretty cool, and it kind of fits because a couple weeks before that, when the SBJ did their annual awards, T-Mobile won, I think it was, Sports Sponsorship Award of the Year or something along that line. So I felt like that was well-deserved and kind of fit them pretty perfectly.
No, go ahead, Connor.
No, it's all you.
Oh, yeah, no. I 100% agree, Count. I think that was a great assessment on kind of the All-Star Game, specifically kind of with the sponsor of T-Mobile and everything. And I think it's just a growing trend as more sports were becoming data-centric. We like, everyone's all about the stats now. We're able to get to it via our phones, the internet, and everything. We can consume it. So we're honestly, in my opinion, fans are becoming a lot smarter, a lot more educated about the game. Yes, it's not all about stats, and there is some just gut instinct within sport and everything. But at the same time, it is a lot of data-centric. So being able to put that on the TV in front of your fans are going to get them more intrigued to it. So like you said, everyone wants to see a 500-foot home run. So you're tracking the distance of it every time, and the closer it gets. Julio Rodriguez, great example. When that guy's just moonshot after moonshot, you're like, well, you're just looking at the screen saying, how much higher can it get? How much farther can it get? And that's great for T-Mobile to bring it to light and to show it during the Home Run Derby.
Absolutely.
No doubt. I'm just curious what you guys' thoughts are on professional sports. So I got two parts here. Professional sports and the All-Star Games. Which league has the best All-Star Game presentation or events surrounding the All-Star Game? Two, I've been wondering this for years, but when are they going to stop putting 8-year-olds in left field during the Home Run Derby? I mean, as a parent, you're going to roll Timmy out there when these guys are hitting absolute missiles, and you think little John has a shot of catching that baseball. I mean, what are we doing, dude?
One of them got hit in the head.
Every year someone gets drilled.
Yeah, it was. I think it's crazy. But to answer the first part about kind of what sport has the best all-star game, I think that's tough. I think I would probably say it's the MLB, to be honest. I think they do a good job kind of including events around the weekend. The home run derby is always kind of a success. People love watching that. And then the all-star game is usually close, and they're doing a lot of, kind of in-game player mics, and you can really talk to the players and kind of hear what they're thinking. Whereas the NBA all-star game kind of turns into a backyard game of basketball and just a lot going on. There's cool things that happen, but it's not my favorite. Then the NFL is doing this whole new thing with the Pro Bowl, which I mean, it's kind of a mess. It seemed like it worked out last year when they kind of changed the format with all the games, but I would probably say the MLB is far and away the best and kind of drives the most, viewership related to kind of what they normally do with the sport.
Right, because I think it's the closest to the actual game of baseball,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
They're actually playing baseball.
It's the most realistic.
Right.
Realistic. Yeah.
I mean, NBA All-Star game, they're scoring 190 points, and then NFL, they're playing patty cake. So,
yep, correct.
Sal?
Yeah, no, totally agree with Callan. I think the MLB definitely has got All-Star Weekend, All-Star Week kind of down. I mean, with the Home Run Derby, it's the American Classic. You got AL versus NL still. You know what to expect. They're doing a great job with the in-game miking, and the communication with the play-by-play to the players has been a great incorporation of everything. I will give a little knock on the game introductions. Way too long, way too much of a show this year. I get what they're doing. These players should be celebrated. This is a big accomplishment, but that was a little much. But, yeah, no, and regarding the other big sports, it's a work in progress. They're still trying to figure out what it's going to look like. The NBA changes their format every other year, just like the NFL. It's one of those things, they're trying to get the game to be realistic, get away from injuries, because that's always a possibility. So I understand that, but at the same time, when you're changing format, when you don't have a strict kind of cadence for what your All-Star weekend's going to look like, that's going to cause problems, and that's why the MLB is still king in that department.
Yep. And I was just reading a report just now, just to put a bow on this, but the MLB attendance is up 9% this season, which is the biggest jump since 1998. So.
Well, yeah, no, we're talking about, so let's keep the ball rolling about the MLB. Yeah, they're having a big year. The changes are making a big difference. They obviously got their CBA knocked out, which was huge the previous couple of years, but specifically extending their commissioner all the way through 2029, excuse me.
Yeah.
So that was big, and obviously he's been one that MLB fans haven't been the biggest fan of. So for him to get that extension shows that what they're doing right now is working, and you can see it paying off. And specifically, the teams that pay the most dollars aren't necessarily the ones that are succeeding. I mean, you can see it clear as day with the Padres. I mean, that's a team that spent big.
I think the Yankees are the best example of all time. You guys have the biggest payroll ever, and you win
think the
like
Padres and Mets
10 years.
define what that's all about. Thinking they can follow the model to pay to win, and it's clearly not working. So I think the parity is huge.
A World Series.
Deflect. I don't blame you. I would like to get you guys' thoughts on probably. I'm getting close to saying the best MLB player I've ever seen with my own two eyes. Ohtani. And what he is being stuck with the Angels.
Yeah, they just said they're not going to trade him, which is
there's no way he re-signs.
I think it was yesterday, and we're taping this on Friday, so it was Thursday, the 27th. They had a doubleheader, pitched a complete game shutout. I think he gave up one hit in the first game and then hit 2 bombs in the second game. I mean, that's probably the best day in MLB history for a specific player ever, and it was just kind of like people talked about it, but then you just move on the next day, which is wild.
Which sucks.
Yeah, he's special. He's special.
Yeah, that should not be swept under the rug.
I mean, he would look good in San Diego. It's just,
Oh,
about an hour and a half down. The I-5 down there. Get out of the Anaheim area. Come on down to San Diego. We'll treat you right.
a brand like that should not be stuck in California. That's a New York brand, international
so?
brand.
What's more
Yes.
international than San Diego?
New York City.
I'll wrap up baseball with saying, their
Beautiful.
numbers are up, and I think a big part of that is it feels very competitive kind of across the league this year.
Yeah.
We don't have to bring the Rockies into it, obviously, but it feels very competitive. Like if you look at the NL West, the Diamondbacks are right up there, which is a team that historically hasn't been great since they won the World Series in 2001. They've had a couple years. And then if you go to the AL East, you've got the Orioles, dude, too. Obviously the Rays are great, but the Orioles are competing. So you kind of see these teams that are, everyone likes to root for them because they're never really around. And it seems very competitive, sort of division to division. There's no one really running away with everything, which I think kind of intrigues the casual fan more.
Yep.
No doubt. And talking about divisions, we were on this topic in the beginning of the show, but we'll circle back here with the conference realignment, the NCAA,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Big 12, with the Big 10,
Big time.
Big 12. I mean, at this point, teams are. I mean, Oregon's gonna. I mean, USC, UCLA. We're playing
Yep.
in the Big 10 country. I mean, we're playing in Penn State at night. Conditions that I feel like both parties aren't going to be super interested in. USC and UCLA, as a Southern California native, I hate the snow, and I would imagine most of the athletes on those USC, UCLA are from that region.
Well, I think that's a little overblown. I mean, it's going to be November,
so?
October when they're playing. Yeah, I don't anticipate too many snow games. It's not as bad as that. Get my blood fired up. I mean, that's a great way to break it down. Nittany Lions traveling to USC to play in California and just steamroll them. I can't wait. But touching on conference realignment, I think what needs to be noted specifically about the recent one with Colorado moving over to the Big 12 is the fact that the Big 12 was able to get their media deal done. The Pac-12 punting on it, doing whatever they're doing, they missed it. They blew it.
Yeah.
Big 12 got their media money. They got their money to get these teams, and it's the exact same thing kind of what the Big 10 did with theirs, being able to come and entice these teams over. So that was the death of the Pac-12. I'll say it right here. Not getting their media rights deal.
You couldn't have said it better, because I was going to wait a little bit, but I have a lot of choice words for this, being a University of Oregon alum, and I mean, I'm sure, I don't know where we're going to end up, but I think, my prediction in the end is the Pac-12 will pretty much explode, or maybe look completely different. I think the big brains left, like Oregon and Washington and Utah even, and the two Arizona schools are going to be gone somewhere else. I'll start with this. I think so. Larry Scott was the commissioner for a long time before George Kliavkoff, or however you say his last name, just came in.
Kliavkoff.
Yeah, came in 2 years ago, last year.
Yep.
Larry Scott kind of never got the Pac-12 up and running with other conferences in terms of kind of competitiveness in, big market sports like football and basketball, which, competitiveness includes winning, championships, as well as he doesn't have a ton of control over that, but media rights deals too, they've kind of always lacked. The new deal is up, and the new commissioner came in, and that was his big focus. You were gonna get something similar to what you see with the Big Ten getting, where they're basically broadcast primetime games all day Saturday starting next year. The Pac-12 doesn't have that, and he keeps getting asked, he says that he has the media deal completed and done, but he won't share any specifics, which means one of two things. Most likely, number one, it's not done, and he doesn't know what he's going to do. Or number two, it is done. He got the most money and the best deal he possibly could have, and he's embarrassed about kind of what the conference was able to get, and he's kind of deflecting and holding on for one last hope. So, Sal, you nailed it on the head. That was really the end of the conference, and I think Utah is going to follow Colorado. I think you're going to see Arizona State go somewhere. I think you're going to see Oregon and Washington go somewhere, and from there, I think it's kind of a free-for-all.
Yeah, one thing I know, Connor, we still need to hear your thoughts on the situation, but I can tell you right now, the Pac-12 commissioner, he does not have his media deal in because all those numbers were probably factoring in all CU, Colorado. Well, now that
Hmm.
that's not going to be happening, those numbers got to be readjusted. We got to rework them. So that deal that he supposedly had, that ain't a real thing.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's only a matter of time, and like we're saying here, I mean, at this point, I saw a report today with they're trying to bring on it like the Pac-12 is trying to add on a few more schools since they're missing out, but it's like it was like SMU,
They're
no
done.
shit on
Yeah.
SMU, but it's like schools that aren't even
San
they're
Diego State.
yeah, it's like they're like Power Five schools, I guess, but
Nah.
not from the big conferences,
Right.
the Mountain West or I don't know what conference SMU's in, but you got to get like you got to get one of the big dogs, and they're not going to get one of the big dogs, so it's
Right.
not going to help their case, at this point.
Well, that's why I think it's gonna. I'm gonna stir the pot here. We've got our Oregon Duck alum, big time fan. Basically, there's two things that are gonna happen. Either Oregon's gonna step up, they're gonna come taste the waters in the Big Ten, and probably be the predominant in the cellar for every year if they come play in the Big Ten.
It's just
Or
crazy.
they're gonna stick, kind of run the Pac-12. They're gonna get, like you said, a couple toss-up schools, SMU teams that are not really good at the big-time sports, and they're just gonna stack up the wins and try to make a bid for the college football playoff, where they will every year be one and done. But they'll be able to say they went to the playoff every year. So that's what's gonna happen with the Pac-12 and specifically Oregon.
That felt very personal. That's okay. I mean, it's not really up to us whether or not we can go join the Big Ten or join the SEC. Like, we need to get invited.
I know he's frozen here, but I 100% disagree with that comment.
I had a
Is,
technical difficulty.
There he is.
Have they got an invite? Because I think Utah's got an invite, or maybe
Whoa,
from the Big 12, haven't they?
No, the Big 12
that's
said that.
allegedly.
I don't even know if it's Utah. I think people are saying that they're sent out an invite to one more Pac-12 team, but no one knows who it is yet. I would assume Utah, but could be surprised. I don't know. We got to see if the Big Ten is going to want to continue to expand and kind of
'Cause
what they're
would
going to
that
do
put 'em at?
regarding that. They're at
Big Ten's at 20 right now, or we're at 18.
I don't even know.
I know they had 14 before
I think-
USC and UCLA, so they just at 16 now.
They're just at 16. Okay, that would open room because I think the cap number was 20. I think that was the number.
Okay.
So I mean, then if you look at it that way, I know there was rumors the Big Ten still trying to get Notre Dame and stuff like that, but I mean,
Right.
I easily see my personal thing. Like I said, I think it's Oregon, Utah as the top contenders for the Big Ten at this point.
Yeah.
You probably got to throw Washington in there too, so we'll see kind of how that works. 'Cause they're a
Why?
big market with,
Why?
Big market with Seattle. They're a good academic school. It's,
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, Callum.
I despise
What do you-
Washington, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah,
What are your,
yeah,
what are your
you're
thoughts
right.
on making it more geographical, though? I mean, if you could somehow rework some of these media rights deals, I mean, make it more, kind of like the NFL where you got the AFC West, the AFC South,
Right.
like yada yada.
Well,
You make
no.
it like that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Cal. But that's what's exciting about what the Big Ten's got going on is they're getting weight, no divisions. It's going to be the best teams are playing the best teams, and no schedule is guaranteed. You'll have like our base rivalry matchups that you'll see every year, but outside of that, it's free game. The best are playing the best.
Yep,
Interesting.
I agree. I think it's I think that whole keep it close within a geographic sense is kind of out the window. I mean, Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC, they're in the southern part of the United States, but they're not very east as opposed to. I guess you got A&M over there, but it's not. They're not southeast. They're just kind of south. And then with USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten, I think of as Midwest. I mean, they're obviously on the West Coast, so I think people don't really care about that. It's more about what brand can you offer and kind of, you want to go to a bigger conference that actually has their future put together with a big media deal where you can get a share of. And obviously the Pac-12 is not there, so we'll see what happens.
We had great thoughts there, gentlemen. But just to close here, we got a big UFC card tomorrow. UFC's obviously big in the fighting space, big in the marketing space. From what
Yep.
they're doing as a brand, international brand. As a league goes, I mean, NBA is pretty international, but UFC's got. I mean, they're definitely up there with one of the better international leagues that's based in America, obviously, because they got fighters. I think basically every weight division has a champion from a different country.
Correct.
Brazil, obviously, United States. They got New Zealand in there. They got Australia. You know, it goes on and on. But Mr. Caprita, as our UFC insider, who your picks tomorrow? I know we got Dustin and Poirier and Justin Gaethje. Gaethje's
Beautiful.
the underdog there. We got Jan Blachowicz and Alex Pereira. I think Pereira's the underdog there.
Yep.
A few other good fights. So what are your thoughts there? Oh,
We'll do the
Gaethje. I
top
was
two.
going-
I'll take
I was
Jan
going Jan and
and
Poirier, actually.
Gaethje. There's no doubt about it. Gaethje. Oh, stop it. Gaethje, Colorado kid, went to Northern Greeley. It's back in my stopping grounds. I mean, this kid is legit. So I'll take Gaethje for sure, and then Jan. I mean, if you've been watching the Embedded series, you'll understand why this guy is not to be
I
trifled
think
with.
I just think
mean,
that Poirier's got a little
he's
bit
just
too
a
much,
beast.
and it's going to set up a nice little reunion for Mr. McGregor and Poirier after McGregor comes back, gets his belt back, and then he's just going to have to run roughshod through the entire division once again. So it'll make for a great story. Let's see, and I don't know, gentlemen, you got any other notes to add on to that?
I mean, I think we covered kind of everything big going on. I mean, personally, for me, the biggest thing right now is what's going to happen with the Pac-12, just because that's close to home. But I think we went over that a lot. You know, we got football season up, talking about contracts.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we're all set.
Yeah, well, the viewers and for those out there, don't forget that Mr. Coleman is a two-time Pac-12 alum, Oregon and Arizona State. So his ties to the Pac-12 run very deep. So it's close to home. It's an emotional time for him.
Correct.
You know, so let's keep that in mind as Mr. Coleman prepares for this tragedy to unfold.
Yeah, it's basically like everything that you grew up with is about to just explode.
Well,
It's a tough time.
that's a perfect way to end the
Oh
episode.
my god.
Yeah. Well, ladies
I
and
don't
gentlemen,
think- I
that
don't
wraps
know if
up
we can
another
end it
episode of the
any better than
Confidence
that.
Sports
I mean, that's
Podcast. We hope you
right
enjoyed
there.
the insights we shared today, and we're looking forward to following along in the sports world, especially the sports business world. And remember to like and subscribe the podcast on our platform so you never miss an episode. And we will talk to you guys later.